Hey, welcome everybody to this month's webinar. My name is Nick Hillesham. I'm the Chief Sales Officer here at TVC ProDriver, and I'm joined by our Vice President of Inside Sales, Joshua Joycuddy. So today we're really going to be focusing on, a lot about what's going on in the industry, but like really how TVC can help from a financial perspective as it relates to our fuel card offering. So Josh has been with the company for just over 3 years now. And Josh is really, he really helps out in the fuel card sales side of things and really understands the fuel market. So that's why I asked Josh to join me on this month's webinar. But with that, so we're going to go and get started here. But Josh, I don't know if you want to, take just a quick moment to introduce yourself to the folks on the line.
Yeah, again, Josh Joycuddy, thanks, Nick, again, for having me. VP of Inside Sales here at TVC ProDriver, run a few departments and, concentrate on selling to owner-operators and small fleets. Specifically, we talk about fuel cards all day long, and we've been doing that for about 3.5 years now. And I've seen a lot of success with the product that we offer. So excited, been in transportation for about 10 years, really talking to owner-operators and small fleets of really all kinds. And it's been great.
Awesome. Well, thanks again for joining, Josh. So, I think it would be good just to get started with, where we're at, from an industry perspective, but then, really getting to a high level overview of the fuel card offering that TVC has to offer. So, and we all kind of understand, the freight market is, not the best freight market we've seen. We're seeing a dip in rates, but, alongside that, we also have an increase in input costs. So when we look at, costs associated with driving a semi truck, one of those key costs that really drive up, that expense is fuel. And, so that's one of the areas that, we like to, really focus in on is like, one, how can we improve from a fuel economy standpoint? But then, what are some things we can do to actually just improve hard dollar costs as it relates to fuel? And that's where, I think we do a really good job here at TVC with our fuel card offering. So I think it would be good, Josh, if we just start with high level, what's the overview? How does the program work? And then we can get into the details.
Yeah, we're talking to owner operators and small fleets all day long, right? And there's it's difficult out there, like you said, Nick. And what we're seeing is, again, 40% of really all the overhead cost of a driver, a small fleet, is fuel specific. And so we're talking to fleets all day long. And again, when your overhead costs are significant and your spot rates are lower, it's dragging into your profit, and everybody's out there looking for a decrease in their cost per mile, no matter what. And so we understand that there's pain out there, and, we're solution oriented, right? And so, with our fuel card, again, we offer a significant discount. It's part of the membership that comes with our program, which includes a lot of other value added services, tire discounts, legal assistance, things like that. Tons of ways actually to decrease your cost per mile. But the most significant has been our fuel card offering, right? With our significant discounts that we have. And again, they're fleet level discounts for owner operators and small fleets alike, right? It's big fleet level discounts for, again, owner operators. And so giving access to that has been a pretty significant impact, especially right now. It always would be a significant impact, but today, especially where the market is at, all we're looking at doing is helping fleets, right? And helping decrease that cost per mile, decreasing those overhead costs significantly. And we're able to do that with a really high level individual smart card, and also a fleet management system as well, and fleet cards.
No, I think that's a great, high level. So, what I'd like to do, Josh, is just, dig into some details a little bit here. So, I mean, as an owner operator, a small fleet owner, I mean, I know I've got options out there when it comes to fuel cards.
Yeah.
And, so, it's one of those things like, okay, well, what makes the TVC fuel card different? And, as I look at different offerings that are out there, what are some of those things that I should really be considering as I look to make a selection on a fuel card provider?
Yeah, I mean, I would say the first thing is consider a fuel card. So
Yes.
we're talking to tons of owner operators that aren't using any fuel cards or don't have discounts. If they do have discounts, it's 5-10 cents off the cash price. And they're missing out on high level discounts like with us, right? And so we're talking to tons of people every single day that honestly don't have a fuel discount. Maybe they decide to use their credit card and they want to get points. And I would just strongly encourage or advise you got to get a fuel card. Obviously, we talk about how our fuel card is high level. It's got great discounts, but in general, we're just finding that a lot of people don't have that knowledge, to actually decrease their cost per mile by using a fuel card in general, right? So that's something that we're finding. So if we run down kind of the number of locations with our discounts, again, we market to, we have significant relationships with high, retailers, right? With major truck stops. And so, and it's more than one, so you see a lot of fuel cards out there that, tell you that they're getting, 50-40 cents off the cash price, but it's really mom and pop locations, right? So we have relationships with the major retailers, and not just one, but several. That makes us stand out in the industry, and stand out among our competitors. So we see people that have relationships, or providers that have relationships with maybe one major retailer. We have that relationship with several, right? And that stands out. When it comes to the consistency of this discounts, that's really, really important as well, just because with what we have, it's, right now, I think we're averaging around 59 cents off the cash price. And that's kind of been like that for the past 3.5 years, right? So we haven't seen a dip, going to 20 cents or thing. It's always kind of been around that 50-60 cent mark. Actually, I think we're averaging 60 cents off the cash price right now. So that consistency is really, really important. You kind of know what you're going to get. And a lot of times with mom and pops, you can see a lot of fluctuations, in the market. That can be difficult, obviously, when you're planning your routes. The reality is, I think we all know with mom and pops, they're 5 miles outside, off the side of the highway. It's difficult. Can't always trust the fuel, that comes out of there. There's a reason why there's major truck stops right off the highway. It's way more convenient. And again, that also goes into decreasing your overhead costs. So we're seeing that, and we see that advantage that we bring over several of our competitors.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. And then, so I know, one of the other things too, Josh, right, is, we offer, funding options, right? So, TVC fuel card it's a pre-funded fuel card. We do offer credit options as well. But do you mind just taking a moment to talk about, okay, so, yep, I'm going to move forward with the TVC fuel card. How do I go about, funding it because it's pre-funded? And, what are some of the ways that I can do that?
Yeah, so for owner operators, like individual cards, we call it a smart card, and it's pre-funded, like you said, Nick. And you can fund that card with your credit card, with your bank account. It's very easy to do once you register with us. We have a fleet portal, or a portal in general that can outline all your discounts. We'll kind of show you screenshots of that later in the call. And it's really, really easy to use. We also have an app that you can fund as well. The portal gives you the opportunity as well to do reoccurring drafts and reoccurring loads, which makes it much easier to manage, your day-to-day, whether you're an individual or a fleet. We have credit options when it comes to a fleet as well. We see a lot of people that ask about credit options. We have that available. Having said that, we think pre-funded is just as good, especially considering the market right now. And we'll get into that, but funding is pretty easy. You can load it in the app, you can load it in our portal. You'll be able to see real-time discounts on what you're saving, and you'll be able to do that with a credit card or a bank account.
Awesome. Well, I know you wanted to, just highlight some of the things that folks are saying about TVC, but so I pulled this up, as our next slide here, Josh. But you've been doing this a long time, right? And you've heard a lot of stories from individuals. You've heard a lot of stories from small fleets that are leveraging the service. So I'd really like you to just paint the picture as to, if I were to go forward to this, what can I expect as far as, as far as like my overall savings, right? So as I look at my monthly fuel expense and, I move forward with this fuel card, what types of discounts am I going to see? What does that overall savings look like, based on your experience and what you've heard from others?
Yeah, so again, the average is around 59-60 cents off the cash price, right? But the reality is, that's just an average. We are seeing savings throughout the US of 70-80 cents, even up to $1. Okay, there are some locations where we've actually seen over $1 in off the cash price in savings, or per gallon of gas, per gallon of fuel. So it's been significant. So when I say it's a little across the board, I don't say that meaning you're getting 20 and 30 cent discounts with that average that we talk about. Usually we see it's actually over that average of 60 cents. When that comes down to it, an owner operator typically is saving somewhere between $800 to $1,000 a month.
Wow.
And realize that's around 12 grand a month. And again, this goes back to my conversation. We're so surprised every day by owner operators that are not using a fuel card or having a fuel card that gives them 10 cents off the cash price. So when they see our discount, and we talk through the locations with them, because that's what a lot of us do. We take them through specifically, like with the lanes that they run in, and tell them exactly real-time data of what type of discount they're going to get. It's pretty impactful, and they see the savings almost immediately.
That's awesome. And so just to clarify, so I mean, on average, we're going to see typically $800 a month per truck in fuel savings. And then so roughly $12,000 per year is a common savings that that folks typically see when they move forward to the TPC
Yeah,
fuel.
and I would say right now it's closer to 1,000. I would say right now. So
Okay.
if you're talking about a fleet, so if you're a fleet of 5 right now in the market, that's
Yeah.
$60,000 a
That's
year
huge.
you're gonna be saving, right? And
Yeah.
we see a lot of people that talk about what they were saving previously. It's totally different, and you know, that's a huge advantage that we have. And again, remember, we're all at major retailers. That's the big difference with us, right? Almost every driver, they enjoy stopping at major retailers, big truck stops that everybody knows.
Yep.
That's the big thing with us, that we have. I think that is that separates us from the competition.
That's great. And then, so I know you mentioned locations, so I think it's, it's important to point out, we're not just at mom and pop shops, we're at, major retailers, but, so as I look at it, Josh, and, I travel certain lanes, and how do I go about like mapping it out, right? So I want to make sure I take advantage of full discounts, or the fullest discount that I possibly can, as I'm making these fuel purchases, and then, maybe help, if I have a small fleet, maybe help my other drivers, make sure that they also fuel at these retailers that have a larger discount. So how do I go about that within within the TPC fuel program?
Yeah, so you're going to download the EFS card control app, right? So there's a couple different ways that you can do it. TVC's processes through EFS. You'll be able to download that car control app and see those real-time discounts within the region, I think within 25 to 50 miles of where the lanes that you're running in. What we're finding is when you start doing that and you find the lanes that you're typically running in every day, what you do is when you go into our portal and start getting an understanding of the lanes that you're running in, it becomes really, really easy, right? Because the way you manage your drivers and where they're running in, where you're going to get the good discounts. So typically what we see is even after a month, it's really easy to navigate where you're going to go to and which truck stops you're going to go to. So it's really easy to do that. The app makes it very easy. You pull up your location or you're currently in, and it's going to give you all the major retailers that offer discounts, and they're significant. Obviously, you see on the screen here, I mean, look at that. In Mississippi, 68 cents on average. In Alabama, 93 cents. It's almost $1. North Carolina, we talked to a ton of drivers in the Southeast, and they're taking advantage of the discounts. And then obviously we talk about the consistency of our discounts. I mean, take a look. From January to May, nothing ever went below 60 cents in average. Yeah. That's pretty crazy. And for an owner operator that's experiencing big fleet level discounts like that, yeah. How attractive can that be?
Yeah, that's awesome. And so Josh, if I'm interested, right, and I want to move forward with something like this, but I want to understand what that discount looks like for me. I'm guessing, but I don't want to assume anything, but I just want to make it clear for our listeners. They can reach out to us, and any one of our salespeople can take them through, like, if they just tell us like, hey, here's our common lanes of travel, our salespeople can actually walk them through to show them like, here's the actual discount today, and really paint the picture as to what those discounts might look like for each individual that calls in, correct?
Correct. And what I would say, one of the biggest issues is, you guys don't have a 60-cent discount. There's no way, right?
Yeah.
And everybody says we give you an average of this and we give you an average of that. And I totally get it. And that's why I'll tell you, so we have the confidence that we're going to be able to take you specifically. We're going to tell you yesterday at 7 p.m. somebody filled up at this location and this is how many gallons they purchased. This was the retail price, and this is what they paid, and this is how much they made, right? We're going to be able to give you that exact, and we're going to be able to provide screenshots and all the proof that you need. And that's why tons of people are hearing about us and signing on because of that. The word of mouth has grown and spread, like wildfire. So that's been really cool to see. But that's a big thing I would say that separates us as well, right? We're going to tell you exactly where you can fill up and exactly how much you can make based off of that.
And I think, now is probably a good time too, Josh, to really talk about, we'll put our money where our mouth is.
Yeah.
So we just recently launched our money back guarantee program as it relates to our fuel program. Do you mind talking a bit about what that looks like and how that's structured?
So we're convinced that you are going to save significantly more than, like the cost of our membership a month, right? So we know that you're going to save so much that we're actually willing to offer a 3-month money back guarantee. So we're going to pay you the cost of your membership if you don't save more than what it costs. And I will tell you what I mean when you don't save more than what it costs for a membership. I'm talking like 5-10 times more what it costs for a membership, right? So if I'm talking big numbers, like, hey, we're going to save you $800 to $1,000 a month, That's 5-10 times the cost of the membership. If we can't save you that, right, if we can't even just save you the cost of your membership, then we have the confidence that we're going to be able to do that. So we're going to provide that money back to you within 3 months. There's a couple stipulations you need to fill. I think 800 gallons a month is just pretty easy. I know drivers do that very quickly. So a couple of restrictions like that, but really, other than that, just use our card. That's all we're going to do, and we'll put the money back in your pocket if that's the case, if we don't save you.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
So Josh, I mean, who can use the fuel card? I mean, is this for anybody that wants to use the fuel card? I know, like, if I drive for a large company, they're handling the fuel purchases on my behalf, so I don't really have to worry about it. So, I mean, really, it's for owner operators and smaller fleets. Do you mind talking about, just the size of fleet that we typically work with?
Yeah, so TVC specifically caters to owner operators and small fleets, right? Just like you said, Nick, I mean, a lot of other fleets, they've got that handled, but we find the biggest need in the industry is with, really between 1 and 20 trucks. So if you're between 1 and 20 trucks, give us a call. We're going to talk to you. We're going to save you a significant amount of money. We'll show that in some of those screenshots. So we talk to owner operators with 1 truck, trucks with 3 trucks, 5, 7, 10. That happens all day long. We're probably signing somebody up right now, as we're speaking. And it's really catered to them. And the reason why is because we can show owner operators and small fleets that we offer those big fleet level discounts.
Yeah.
And we were able to negotiate that just because of our large membership base, and so we had the ability to do that. And again, we're just trying to pass that along to all small fleets and owner operators as much as we can.
That's great. And now, so last year we introduced a lot of new technology, not only for our legal services, but also, giving you that visibility into fuel. So you mind just talking about, how a user might leverage the fuel portal, Josh, or the fleet portal that we have, or just the individual portal that we have to, look at their fuel savings and just gain that visibility.
So if you're a bottom line person like me, and you want to know exactly how much you're going to save, when you log into our portal, this is the first thing that you're going to see. And just take a look at the green. That's the easy way to say it. If you look at the total discount, for example, at the top left-hand side, we have a fleet saving $14,500 a month, right? I think that goes to like around 175 grand a year. So think about the amount of savings that's, I'm not a mathematician, but I think it's around that, I'm just a salesperson, but again, like, look at that. And you're able to see that. And that was in the last 30 days, just to be clear, right? So we see at the top, right? The total retail amount was 102,000, they paid 87, right? And they're filling up 25 gallons. So that's maybe a bigger fleet. Well, let's take a look at maybe a smaller fleet that has 3 to 5 trucks. If you're looking here on the top right-hand side, the total discount saved was about $1,500 a month, right? They filled around 2,000 gallons in a month, right? And the average discount was 71 cents. So just like I said, just because we're offering an average of 60 cents, oftentimes you're going to see that over, right? That's 71 cents over. And at the bottom, again, kind of that middle range, fleet that we see as well, 66 cents off the cash price, $5,300. That's going to be more than 60 grand in savings a year, right? So if you are in the market and your overhead costs are significant, we're seeing that all over the place, and you got a 10-cent discount, you got to call us, right? You got to look at us, you got to sign up with us online, you got to reach out, because we're clearly showing you real-time savings, right? This is exactly what people are showing. Obviously, these aren't just like examples we pulled up. These are people that are in our portal. These are fleets that are in our portal, and their exact savings.
Yeah, and I think, again, going back to, we'll put our money where our mouth is, right? The money back guarantee. If you don't believe us, I mean, we will definitely, make it worth your while, to reach out. And, if you're not getting the savings that we say you're going to get, for the cost of that membership, we're going to give you that cost of that membership back. So it's really, very low risk to try out the TVC fuel card, especially if you're already a TVC member and this applies to you. I mean, you absolutely reach out to us. Would love to talk to you, talk you through the program in more detail. So, anything else you want to add, Josh, before we move to Q&A?
No, really. I mean, like I said, it hurts me when I hear of a fleet that has 5-10 cents off the cash price, or is just using their credit card, especially our current members as well. I mean, we want to spread the message because, again, we want to pass that back to the fleets. We know it's a difficult time right now, and we have a way we can help. We know we have a way we can help, and that's exactly what we aim to do.
Yeah, no, that's excellent. So we did have, a couple of questions that came in throughout the presentation, Josh. The first question is actually from Sarah. Sarah was asking, so you talked about funding, right? But Sarah really wants to understand, like, how do I go about funding that fuel card?
Yeah, so for owner operators, we have an individual smart card and you pre-fund the card. Okay, could be $300, it could be $1,000. I think we ask you to fund $300 just up front, and then we'll send you the fuel card. Typically within 5 to 7 business days, somewhere around there, 7 to 10 business days. It gets there pretty quickly. So the way you fund the card, and it's actually good because when I talk to a lot of owner operators that use their credit card and they want to get the points.
Yeah.
Well, the good thing about that is when we switch you over to our fuel card, we still give you the ability to fund, with a credit card, right? So you'll be able to do that, and you'll still be able to recoup the points, which is pretty significant. So you kind of are able to kill 2 birds with one stone, right? You get the points on the credit card, but you're still using our fuel discount and taking advantage of those discounts. You can also obviously fund the card with a bank account as well. That's pretty easy. And then I talked about earlier, you can set up reoccurring drafts or recurring loads within the portal.
Got it. Another question that came in, Josh, is like, so can I get more than one fuel card?
Yeah, absolutely. We're not going to restrict you. I will say, obviously, I would say it's 1-to-1, right? But if you're an owner operator and you've got 3 trucks, you'll be able to get 3 individual fuel cards. If you're at 5 trucks, we definitely move you to that fleet. And oftentimes we find people that are wanting credit applications, things like that we're able to offer them. The ease of use is pretty significant, whenever you're, a fleet and you want to manage it in a little bit of a different way. So we definitely provide that for you as well.
I think that's great. One other question that did come in too is like, I heard TVC has some fees associated with the fuel card. Do you mind just talking a little bit about the fees associated, Josh?
Yeah, so the cost associated is pretty minimal outside of the membership. And remember, the membership encompasses not just fuel, right? We give tire discounts. We've got other things that obviously we can talk about in other spaces, but legal assistance, all of that, right? And so it's not just the fuel discount, although we find that the fuel discount is so significant, doesn't matter what you're paying for the membership. Other than that, there's a cost to load the card, but also, again, if you want the money in the card, like maybe within a day, or there's a cost to expedite it. What I would just tell you, and we tell all our drivers this, right? Wait the 4 days, right? It takes 4 days from the time that you load the card to the time it shows up in your account or on the card. And we tell everybody, wait the 4 days initially, and then start recurring loads after that, right? It's very simple. It's just a matter of just planning out that first load. We find out once you fund that card with the first load, things go pretty smoothly from there. Right. And so, we have a cost to expedite it if you want it the same day or the next day. Industry standard, I would say, is probably around 7 days from, without any cost. Ours is better, right? We only make you wait 4 days, with no cost. So
and to your point, right? I just want to make sure it's really clear. So now, with the release of our portal, we do have tools where somebody can go in, they can schedule any of those loads. So if you understand, schedule the load to load your funds in the fuel card. So, I mean, if you kind of understand, like, hey, here's my typical fuel spend, you can go in, schedule those, those loads to take place, and you kind of just set it and forget it, right?
Yeah. So sometimes I would also say this, sometimes we talk about this, we got a lot of people that are owner operators that want credit, what I would tell you right now with the industry where it's at, a lot of fuel providers are pulling out, they're offering credit still, but they're pulling from your bank account and they're drafting twice a week. Well, I'm going to tell you right now, that's basically the same thing as pre-funded, right? Yeah. And so, so that's what we find as well. So if they're already going to be doing that, you might as well pre-fund the card anyway, right? There's really not much of a difference. So you're correct on that, Nick. But we've got, got a lot of positives as well.
Yeah. And I mean, and I know we do have, and you talked about it, you mentioned it, right? We do have credit options, so certain, anybody can apply for credit, correct, Josh?
It's right now it's for small fleets. So if you have a fleet of 5 and up, you'd be able to apply for a credit. That could change in the future, but currently right now it's reserved for small fleets. And we see obviously fleets are getting it's interesting though, even in this market, we're seeing a ton of fleets that get approved for credit. And certainly that's their preference, and we want to be able to facilitate that for them.
Yeah. So best thing is, like, if you're interested in learning more about the fuel card or interested in signing up for the fuel card, is, reach out, right? I mean, we'd love to answer any of the questions that you have, any of the concerns that you might have, but we've got, a team of folks that, that really want to talk to you about our fuel card offering. And, I think you'll be pleasantly surprised as to, how rapidly you're going to get that return on investment when rolling out with the TVC fuel card. So Josh, any last things that you wanted to add?
Nick, the bottom line is when we talk about savings, we are not going to save you $5 more. We're not going to save you $10 more, right? That's the biggest thing that I want to tell everybody out there, right? We have significant savings that is going to actually have a real impact on your fleet or your situation day to day. Right. And that's what we want to say. And that's a message we want to spread. It's not just a small discount that's going to end up being some type of an inconvenience to you. Right. This is going to have a huge impact on your operations as you are hauling over the road.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. So, I guess, at this point, if you do have questions, we've got the contact info listed right here on the slide. So, feel free to reach out to any of our team, happy to help you. But the number to call is 866-749-5359, or you can send an email to services@prodriver.com and somebody will follow up with you within 24 hours to get you more information on the fuel card. Josh, really want to thank you, for joining me today. Great overview. But yeah, again, if you do have questions, folks, feel free to reach out. We'd be happy to help you. Thanks, everyone. Have a great day.
Thank you. Appreciate it.